The life lamp has sufficient energy, and you can also start a Sims once. Please note that every Sims, no matter how many years they have gone through, is a day in the main world. In Sims, the higher the score, the richer the reward. Break through the limits of Sims, you can get all the rewards, strange treasures, cultivation methods, and even immortality. Will you light up the lamp of life and illuminate your second Sim's life? Like in King Yun No. 1 Middle School. Anchor on the plaza. 3,000 teenagers, who just turned 16, were bustlingly sitting on the simulated square platform. The simulated square platform is more than 1 meter high, dark and colorful, exuding mysterious fluctuations in time and space. Students participating in the Sims can use the simulated square platform to anchor their souls and light the lamp of life, thus entering the world of Sims and experiencing a wonderful Sims life. In the noisy crowd, Lin Qi let out a deep breath, the corners of his eyes trembling with tension. Brother Yet, this is the last chance. We will definitely be able to break through the limit in the simulation and become free roamers in the great thousand world, right? Do you have confidence? Chen Fan, a classmate for 4 years, was even more nervous than Lin Qi. Lin Qi smiled sourly, we civilians have no choice. If the second time is unsuccessful, then the life lamp energy will no longer support us to illuminate the third simulation, so we can only vassalize a great thousand walker and be a contractor. Not to mention being a baby birthing machine for the rest of your life, you have to endure the invasion of black fog, and you have only 30 years of lifespan. Work hard. Fight to the death. It's up to people. Lin Qi's tone contained 7 points of pessimism. As a traveler, he has seen through. Life is always full of tragedies, whether it is real life or simulated life. You don't know which will come first, tomorrow or the accident. For example, Lin Qi's first simulation was absurd and miserable. At the age of 0, you were born as a boy and a premature baby with a weak body. When you were 1 year old, your family was poor. When your parents saw that you were ugly and sick, they threw you into a cesspool and drowned. You are dead. The first simulation was extremely tragic. As a baby, Lin Qi was overwhelmed by the stench before he had time to struggle, which directly led to a precious opportunity for Sims to come to nothing. Now, Lin Qi has only one last chance left, and he must break through the limits of his life this time and fill up the energy of his life lamp. Otherwise, if the lamp of life is not enough to illuminate him in the dark, he will only be corroded by the black fog of the main world, and he will definitely not live to the age of 30. Even if it belongs to the real great thousand walker, it is still a short-lived ghost and a baby machine. Lin Qi clenched his fists secretly, he was unwilling, really unwilling. As a human being in 2 lifetimes, how could he be willing to remain mediocre? However, the 3,000 teenagers present were all disappointed people who failed the simulation for the first time. After a day, 98% of the students here will leave sadly, blend in with the crowd, linger on, and eventually die a short life. Life is so miserable. Suddenly, above the square, the school radio began to sound. Students who participated in the second simulation of life, please anchor their souls on the simulated square platform and light the lamp of life. With your soul anchored, you won't get lost, and your soul can return to the main world. Lighting the lamp of life can illuminate your life experience, predict the key plot of life in advance, and then make changes. Remember, in the process of Sims, you must be careful and do not have any negligence. Break through the limits of your life, and you will be able to become a real Daqiangxian and change your life against the sky. At the moment when the broadcast sounded, the hearts of 3,000 students were all in their throats. They were all losers in the first test. If the last chance is not seized, then this life will stop at the common people. This is the moment of fate. As a traveler, Lin Qi is naturally unwilling to be ordinary. Riding on a horse. People die. If you don't agree, just do it. I don't believe it, I can always be a loser. Lin Qi was ruthless. There was a stubbornness in his eyes that he had to take a bite of meat when he was about to die. This time, no matter what the start is, he will grit his teeth until the end. Even if it is a rotten hand, it will be a tailwind. Read this. A few words leaked from Lin Qi's teeth. Anchor the soul, light the lamp of life, and illuminate the Sims. The voice fell. A dazzling light emerged from the simulated square platform. Lin Qi was wrapped into a giant egg by the chaotic light. Detected that the strength of the soul far exceeds that of ordinary people, and awakened the permanent SS level talent Creation Deduction. Creation Deduction can deduce everything. The more knowledge you have, the better your deductions will be. But every time you play, you need to consume walking points. Walking points can be obtained by changing key fate events. The current walking point is 100, a sudden voice. It made Lin Qi stunned for a while. Permanent SS level talent? Creation Deduction? Isn't this the golden finger necessary for transmigrators? Lin Qi was very excited. I haven't had time to learn about gold finger. The beep sounded again. The Sims begins. The lamp of life is burning, illuminating your life at age 0. You were born in an ordinary family in the city as a boy. When you were 2 years old, you suddenly became ill and became a big-headed baby with low intelligence. At the age of 9, you are stunted and mentally retarded, and children in kindergarten all despise you. 14 years old, you are in the 2nd grade of elementary school, and you suffer from school violence every day. When you were 15 years old, you dropped out of school. Your parents were so worried about you that you couldn't afford it, and both passed away. At the age of 16, you were robbed of your property by relatives and became a street beggar. 17 years old, you are a big-headed doll, mentally retarded, and also suffer from juvenile terminal illness. At the age of 18, your terminal illness broke out. After suffering so much, you finally died under the overpass. Evaluation: every time the hemp rope is broken at the slightest point, the bad luck looks for the poor. Your life is a complete tragedy. Big-headed doll, mentally retarded, school violence, both parents died, starved, poverty, terminally ill juveniles. You are lucky to live to 18 years old. Do you enter the Sims life and change your life against the sky? Lin Qi, who was still excited just now, reading www.uuganshu.com after reading this short life carefully. The whole person is numb. 2-year-old big-headed baby, 9-year-old mentally retarded, 14-year-old victim of school violence, 15-year-old both parents died, 16-year-old beggar, 17-year-old terminally ill, and 18-year-old died. Terribly miserable. Can this kind of life without any hope in sight really be changed against the sky? Why did the sudden illness occur? Why do you become a big-headed doll and have low intelligence? Moreover, juvenile terminal illness can't be resisted no matter what. Terminal illness, the disease that cannot be overcome is the terminal illness. If you want to complete this Sim's life, you must survive the sudden illness at the age of 2, the death of your parents, and the terminal illness of the 18-year-old. These 3 events are all on nightmare difficulty. Lin Qi's face was ashen. We can only pin our hopes on permanent SS level talent. Can you deduce a more feasible plan for the talent of creation deduction? Lin Qi wanted to try out the effect of the talent of creation. With 100 walking points it is impossible to deduce a complete plan. You should choose to deduce in the process of life simulation. The subconscious reminded Lin Qi secretly. Lin Qi fell into deep thought. He obeyed his subconscious. He is not rich, so good steel should be used on the edge of the knife, and it should not be messed up. Thinking like this, Lin Qi exhaled deeply and his eyes were firm. Start entering life. I want to change my life against the sky. The voice fell. A beep sounds. Entering the Sims, all the scientific knowledge of the main world has been blocked and cannot be brought into the Sims. The Sims officially begins. Xia Country. A tertiary hospital in Jiangnan City. There was a crisp and loud cry from the baby in the delivery room. A baby boy was born. The cry was very loud, it could even be said to be full of anger. In the loud cries, the baby boy's lungs were fully opened, and he was breathing in the fresh air. This baby boy is Lin Qi. The female doctor held Lin Qi with wrinkled skin and put it into the incubator. Congratulations, your baby is crying loudly, all the data are very healthy, and it will grow vigorously in the future. Lin Qi's mother had a maternal smile on the corner of her mouth. The father was particularly excited. Apart from taking care of his wife diligently, he would lie on the side of the thermostat and make faces, making Lin Qi laugh. Pity. Lin Qi couldn't laugh no matter what. Sorrow wrapped around Lin Qi's wrinkled face. Alas, it really hurts my heart. When he was 2 years old, he would have a serious illness and then turned into a big-headed doll with low intelligence. Commonly known as, mentally handicapped, cerebral palsy. The tragedy of life begins here. Don't reverse this super tragic event that affects fate. He just can't break the limits of the Sims. If you can't break the limit, you can't become the great thousand walker. Life in the main world will also be dark. Lin Qi thought quickly, if you want to solve the problem of a 2-year-old's serious illness, you need to take it step by step and calculate it bit by bit. There are only 2 causes of serious illness, one internal cause and one external cause. Lin Qi skillfully used Ma Zhe's methodology. There are many external reasons, which cannot be ruled out for the time being. In terms of internal causes, first deduce my health status. Exclude some internal causes. Thinking like this, Lin Qi started the creation deduction talent. A thought moved. The game begins. This deduction consumes 10 walking points, 90 walking points remaining. Successful deduction. Under the current circumstances, the body is very healthy, only the congenital acute disease gene is lurking in the bone marrow. The diseased gene will suddenly explode in adulthood. Feel the deduced information. Lin Qi fell into deep thought. From the deduction point of view, the serious illness at the age of 2 is not an internal cause. What is the cause? Lin Qi was a little confused. Certainly. Lin Qi was not too entangled. He has already decided that he will have a medical examination at the age of 1. When I was 1.5 years old, I had another physical examination. After checking twice, Go Sheng is just like that. It won't be life-threatening for the time being. Take the time to let yourself develop ahead of the babies of the same period. Having a strong physique can increase the chance of surviving a serious illness at the age of 2. Lin Qi's thoughts were very clear. His talent is SS-level creation deduction. He can deduce everything. As long as he is careful, he should be able to survive it safely. Thinking like this, Lin Qi felt at ease. After an hour, he was hungry and burst into tears. Sister nurse took her to drink milk. After he was full, Lin Qi's body was full of strength, and he started punching and kicking in the thermostat, dancing with his hands. The small limbs are getting stronger and stronger. A month goes by in a blink of an eye. Lin Qi's growth was visible to the naked eye. Originally, his facial features were wrinkled, but he became white and plump. The 2 arms are like fat lotus roots, and the eyeballs are as black as gems. His height was also 7 centimeters taller than the little baby who was born on the same day. He is the most physically fit baby in the hospital, the one who loves to toss the most, the one with the loudest laugh, and the one with the softest smile. The nurses and sisters all like this little baby. He often ran over to play with him, and praised his uniqueness and cuteness in front of his parents. Lin's father and Lin's mother are immersed in strong pride every day. 3 months passed in a flash. In the parents' small marriage room, Lin Qi was already crawling all over the floor. He is very able to eat, he can drink milk several times a day, and he began to exercise and develop on the first day of birth. So he is a full 20 centimeters taller than the babies born in the same batch. But being able to eat also brings up a problem. At this moment, Mother Lin was sitting on the sofa and sighed slightly, "Husband, there is not enough milk. Crucian carp soup, taro soup, and stewed pork rib soup with milk ginseng will not work. I eat too much of this little thing." Father Lin was amazed, and patted Lin Qi's buttocks a little funny. "Oh, there's no way, all smart children seem to be like this. I'm going to buy milk powder tomorrow? How about it?" "Okay. Remember to buy big brands." Hearing the conversation between Lin's father and Lin's mother, Lin Qi, who was crawling all over the floor, suddenly trembled. "Milk powder? Milk powder!" His Lin Qi immediately caught a keyword that was enough to change his destiny. He understood that the cause of his serious illness at the age of 2 was probably due to this. Since he was born, he has been thriving, without any possibility of disease. In other words, there is no problem with the internal cause. Then the serious illness at the age of 2 was caused by external factors. And the external cause of mentally retarded cerebral palsy that can turn Lin Qi into a big-headed doll. 80% are unsafe milk powder. In this world, I don't know if there has ever been unsafe milk powder, but Lin Qi had a sensational event in his previous life. The obvious symptoms of those victimized babies are big-headed dolls with low IQs. Symptoms are exactly the same as his. It's definitely the reason for the unsafe milk powder. Lin Qi was very firm. "You'll know after you use the creation deduction talent to test it later. If it's poisonous, I won't drink it. I've been crying until my parents change milk powder. If I don't drink it, I'll be able to live through the age of 2. Lin Qi was very excited. "It's not easy. I was very careful when I was born, and finally saw the hope of changing my life against the sky. And this hope is so close at hand, you can reach out and hold it." This afternoon, Father Lin came back from the mother and baby shop with a can of milk powder. The milk powder can was beautifully packaged with the words baby and written on it. Staring at the milk powder can, Lin Qi immediately consumed 10 walking points and used his talent for creation and deduction. Creation deduction completed, milk powder is added to, the baby will drink it, and it will lead to shameless profiteer. Lin Qi sighed in his heart. If I hadn't been in The Sims, I knew in advance that something was going to happen, and I had the SS level Genesis deduction talent, I'm afraid I would have sent it. Who would have thought of this? Lin Qi shook his head sadly. Fortunately, he has creation deduction. Never drink unsafe milk powder. Lin Qi's eyes were firm. But not far away, Father Lin's laughter entered his ears. "Ha ha ha, dear son, Nai Nai is here." Lin Qi. He didn't even want to take care of Father Lin, but just crawled around on the ground to make himself grow faster. "Honey cub, come and drink, come and drink." Father Lin fed the pacifier to Lin Qi's mouth. Lin Qi pretended to take a sip, and then spit the milk on the ground with extreme disgust, and then burst into tears. It was loud and loud. Father Lin's brain trembled. "Why don't you drink? What are you doing? How did you become a father? Don't force the child if he doesn't drink." Mother Lin's face was full of distress, and she hugged Lin Qi in her arms to comfort her. "Is it because the quality of the milk powder is not good? My good cub has always been a good cook. He is the best. It must be that the milk powder does not suit the taste." Father Lin was very puzzled. "No, this is the most famous brand in China." Mother Lin's tone was very doting. "Let's change the milk powder, maybe it's because the good cub doesn't like to drink it, so change it." After speaking, she started breastfeeding Lin Qi. And Father Lin went out in embarrassment. In half an hour, Father Lin brought back a new can of milk powder. Lin Qi used the creation deduction to test it once, and found that there was no problem with the quality, so he opened his arms and sighed wildly. In this way, Lin Ke spent 2 years carefully. When he was 1 year old, when he was 1.5 years old, Lin Ke checked the quality of milk powder, the food was safe, and there was no danger. Go like this. Lin Ke naturally passed the first disaster in his life safely. Get through hard times. A prompt sounded in Lin Ke's mind. At the age of 1, you thrive. At the age of 2, the incident has become, because you drank it when you were a child, you escaped the catastrophe. Congratulations, you succeeded in changing your life against the sky. Incredible! Your parents couldn't help showing off your breastfeeding glory, and your neighbors marveled at you. 1/3 of the gem of the lamp of life is formed. You have gained 1000 walking points. Because the process of changing your life against the sky is too incredible. You get an extra bonus. You can choose one of the following 3 bronze reincarnation cards. Note, the reincarnation card can be brought back to the main world, and it will take effect in all future walks. Champion Athlete Physique Card, Bronze Quality, you have a strong physique since childhood and have the potential to become a world champion athlete. Nobel Prize Scientist Wisdom Card, Bronze Quality, you are smart and eager to learn since you were a child, and have the potential to become a Nobel Prize scientist. Wearing this card, you can also carry all the knowledge of the 2 disciplines of the overworld into the Sims. Ultimate Inner Volume King Energy Card, Bronze Quality, you have been energetic since childhood, and your energy is 3 times that of ordinary people. You only need to sleep for 3 hours a day. Check out the rewards. The toy-year-old Lin Ke completely released his nature, giggling like the little son in Teletubbies. The reward is great. It was so good that Lin Ke couldn't believe it. You must know that walking points are hard currency in the Great Thousand World and the main world. Whether it is resources or treasures, you need to use walking points to buy them. And the 1000 walking point directly hit Lin Ke's arms. His SS level talent creation deduction. If you want to deduce the next game-breaking plan, you need exactly 1000 walking points. In other words, with this precious 1000 walking points, Lin Ke can completely change his life against the sky. Thoughts are here. Lin Ke was happily rolling on the ground, like a kitten that caught the sun. Mother Lin picked up Lin Ke and smoothed the folds on Lin Ke's clothes. My dear, what are you enjoying? Lin Ke did not speak. The mind stays on the extra reward. Additional rewards. He knew it. When I was in school, I learned the corresponding knowledge. It is extremely difficult to trigger extra rewards. You must avoid dead ends in the process of Sims to trigger. The teacher said that extra rewards are hard to come by, even if it is a Dakiangxian who has simulated dozens or hundreds of times, he may not be able to encounter it once. But I never imagined that the first time I changed my life against the sky, I would trigger such a small probability reward. Indeed, life is full of surprises. Lin Ke was amazed, his eyes jumped on the 3 cards. But, 3 reincarnation cards, how should I choose? Lin Ke was in trouble. The physique card and the wisdom card are both top-notch treasures, both of which are reluctant. The champion athlete physique card allows the wearer to have a strong physique since childhood, and it is not easy to die. The Nobel Prize Scientist Smart card enables the wearer to be smart and eager to learn since childhood and become a Nobel Prize scientist. Lin Ke really didn't know what to choose. He was in a dilemma. Sudden. Lin Ke's eyes lit up and he thought of a solution. I will first deduce the perfect plan to change my life against the sky, and then choose the reincarnation card according to the plan. Isn't it perfect? Thinking of this, Lin Ke immediately consumed 1000 walking points and activated the creation deduction. After dozens of seconds, Lin Ke got the answer. Overcoming terminal illness is a super difficult problem. If you want to directly deduce the conquering plan, you have to spend 10,000 walking points. Lin Ke was not that wealthy. When he got the plan, he understood the technology of this world and became a leader in the field of biotechnology. On the one hand, the more profound the knowledge, the more subtle the deduced plan. On the other hand, it is possible to use the power of the whole country to overcome terminal illness. Lin Qi understood. I choose the Nobel Prize Scientist Wisdom card. Select the moment of completion. A clear stream poured into Lin Qi's mind, and the speed of his thinking increased dozens of times. His eyes were piercing, bright and luminous, and he was extraordinarily wise. The bonus of the wisdom card is really high. It's time to move on to the next plan. Lin Qi was quite happy. The next important event is, I will be in kindergarten at the age of 9. According to the perfect plan, I should go to kindergarten when I am 2 years old. However, if you want to go to the kindergarten, you must show my talent and intelligence. Otherwise, my parents will not allow it, and the kindergarten may not make an exception to take me in. Lin Qi nodded secretly, and immediately cupped Mother Lin's face with his small hands. Books. I want to read books. Mama, I want to read books. The tender childish voice came out of Lin Qi's mouth, which startled Mother Lin. Darling, what did you say? Book, I want to read a book, I want to read a book. Mother Lin was a little confused. A 2-year-old baby can't articulate so clearly, and she has to read a book when she comes up, isn't it a little weird? But when I think of the miraculous incident where my son vomited after drinking a sip of poisoned milk powder when he was a child, plus the height of the good baby can be comparable to that of a 4-year-old baby. Mother Lin was not surprised either. She put Lin Qi on the floor, took out a children's picture book, and spread it out in front of Lin Qi. Lin Qi. This thing is terrifyingly retarded for geniuses. Lin Qi didn't take it seriously, and before Mother Lin took him to read, he flipped through the children's picture book, and every time he turned a page, he would spit out a word. Lion, tiger, bear, crocodile. It's too simple, I don't want to see it. Mother Lin could only throw away the children's picture books for learning about animals. Take out the children's numeracy picture book. Lin Qi flipped through the picture book and opened his mouth to all the figures. It's too simple, I still don't want to see it. Mother Lin was stunned. My dear, you are not a genius, are you? Are you really 2 years old with this level of intelligence? Lin Qi disapproved and recited a table of multiplication formulas. Then he put his hands on his hips and stood proudly. I'm going to kindergarten. I'm going to study in kindergarten. Mother Lin was a little confused. Kindergarten is for 4 or 5-year-olds. My own darling, will he go to kindergarten at the age of 2? Will it be a little early? But in terms of height, my own darling has grown to be equivalent to a 4-year-old baby, and going to kindergarten is nothing. More importantly, he is so smart that he can memorize the multiplication table by heart. Multiplication formulas should be the knowledge of the 2nd grade of elementary school, right? Where did he learn it from? On TV? Mother Lin's thinking was a little confused. But it's more of excitement and pride. My own cub is definitely a genius. Mother Lin was very happy. Holding her mobile phone, she quickly contacted the best kindergarten in the neighborhood. Hung Tong Tong Kindergarten. 30,000 yuan per semester. Mother Lin paid the fee. Let Lin Qi successfully enter the kindergarten. Because Lin Qi is cute and handsome, has a cold temperament, and is very young, so the kindergarten's kindergarten teacher took special care of Lin Qi. Coax Lin Qi as a child. However, they never expected that Lin Qi began to show his power after being honest for half an hour. He first mingled with the children, and then shouted in the crowd, "Our parents won't come to pick us up. They don't want us anymore. My parents just threw us here because they didn't want us. Say it." Lin Qi wailed a lot, crying so hard that it was heartbreaking, and the voice shook the sky. The other children were a little confused at first. But after 10 seconds, the children were like tearing down dominoes. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com burst into tears. A few children were more sensible and didn't cry right away. Lin Qi would walk in front of them. Mom and Dad have already thrown us away, right? 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 Right. Under Lin Qi's madness, who can control the emotions of a 4 or 5-year-old child? In the whole kindergarten, no child was spared. And group crying is not easy to appease. Often after comforting a few, when she turns around, she will be hooked and cry. It took 2 hours for the kindergarten teachers and sisters to make the children go from crying to sobbing with tears. Result: Lin Qi stirred up the emotions again, and the children who finally stopped crying fell into the second round of collapse. Even the children from the next class joined the crying team. The mentality of the kindergarten teachers and sisters is almost collapsed. The principal's aunt even collapsed. She hurriedly called Mother Lin. Is it Lin Qi's parent? I'm sorry, your children are so different. Mother Lin, please pick him up. The kindergarten is willing to compensate you for double the tuition fee. Mother Lin. She tried her best to apologize and save her, but the principal pleaded with tears. So Lin Qi dropped out of kindergarten on the first day of school. He earned 30,000 tuition fees for nothing. After returning home, Lin Qi simply looked at Mother Lin. Mom, I want to go to elementary school, I want to go to elementary school for class. Lin Qi didn't want to waste time, because a terminal illness would break out at the age of 18. He has to race against time to complete his fate-defying plan. You're going to elementary school? Listening to Lin Qi's milky plea, Mother Lin was in a tangle. Her darling is a genius, but she still wants to play with Lin Qi every day. What fun children are! Especially a cute, smart, and healthy child like Lin Qi. Breastfeeding is always obedient. When peeing, he can shout and talk. Go to bed at night, never wake up in the middle of the night to torture people. Lin Qi never let her experience the hard work of raising children. She has only real happiness and full of pride. But what if the boy went to elementary school? She's not ready to part with the darling yet. Mother Lin shook her head reluctantly. Darling, you are only 2 years old, you are too young, the school won't want you. Of course, Lin Qi had already thought of a countermeasure. I'll go to school to sign up, then I'll study by myself at home, and then my mother will accompany me to take the exam. This proposal made Lin's eyes shine. Without burying the talent of the good boy, she can also take good care of the young Lin Qi. She immediately called Father Lin to discuss. When Father Lin learned about Lin Qi's talent, he was so shocked that he jumped 3 feet in the company. I already knew that my son is a genius. In this case, I will take a leave tomorrow to go through the enrollment procedures for my son. The next day, Lin's father and Lin's mother took Lin Qi to the best elementary school in Jiangnan City. The principal did not agree at first. A 2-year-old baby, is she still breastfeeding? How can I go to primary school? I'm afraid it's impossible to count 100 numbers. However, Lin Qi opened his mouth with a table of multiplication formulas, which he recited by heart. The principal was surprised. She took out a math test paper for the first grade of elementary school and asked Lin Qi to do it. Lin Qi immediately showed his strength, and at a glance, he was able to report the correct answer. The principal was stunned. He thought of those geniuses who went to college at the age of 14 and entered the junior class at the age of 13. She couldn't help taking a deep breath. Your son is a genius. Absolutely a genius. The principal was overjoyed. He had been teaching for more than 30 years, but he had met a child prodigy. At the age of 2, he was able to solve the first grade math test paper in seconds. He didn't dare to imagine what heights he would reach in the future. If it can be cultivated, how much will it increase his fame? The principal took a deep breath and looked at Lin Qi with a shocked face. Just as Mother Lin said, let's admit you to school. You are self-taught at home, and you only need to take midterm and final exams. said. The principal applied for Lin Qi's second-grade naturalization certificate as quickly as possible. Lin Qi was very happy. After studying for half a year, in the shock of the principal's trembling, Lin Qi skipped grades continuously. Promoted to the first grade. The principal who handled the class skipping certificate for Lin Qi was amazed and praised, "It's incredible, so there are really geniuses in the world." The principal has a weird expression. At the age of 3, he can master all elementary school knowledge and even understand the content of junior high school. It's really scary. The principal's arm trembled, and a bright red seal was affixed. Then, with a full smile on his face, he rubbed Lin Qi's tender face. "Xiao Qi, you are still studying at home, you just need to take the exam." Lin Qi nodded coldly. That night, in Lin Qi's mind, a prompt sounded for the first time. Fate changed successfully. 2 years old, you entered kindergarten, you are good-looking and strong, and the children in kindergarten are very close to you. Because of your performance in kindergarten, your family has gained an extra income. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully, at the age of 2, you entered elementary school. The train of fate is galloping toward another track. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully, at the age of 3, you were promoted to junior high school, the name of a genius first appeared, and your reputation was seen in the newspapers, you are destined to be extraordinary. The gem of life lamp is being formed, you get 500 walking points. After reading the tips, Lin Qi smiled slightly. 500 walking points is undoubtedly a huge sum of money. With these 500 walking points, Lin Qi has the confidence to deal with all the changes. But, bottom line, Lin Qi was still very cautious. He has changed his life twice now, but that doesn't mean he can take it lightly. When studying in a simulation school, he learned that, in the process of life, there are accidents everywhere. You may change the events of your childhood, but if you are not careful enough, then it may trigger a series of accidents such as robbery, kidnapping, car accident, falling objects, X disease and so on. Lin Qi decided to continue. He is only a little over 3 years old, and it would be best for Go to learn by himself at home. In addition to self-study, I will jump and do some exercise. At the same time, Lin Qi's diet is scientific and balanced. This caused his height to jump up. At the age of 4, he was already the height of a 7-year-old child. Yan Zhi has also changed from being cute to being immature and handsome, just like a handsome young man. But being handsome is useless in the face of terminally ill teenagers. Knowledge is the only one. Lin Qi knew this very well. Before the sudden outbreak of terminal illness, apart from scientific knowledge, everything else was false. Therefore, Lin Qi studied even harder. It only took him half a year to solve his junior high school knowledge. And with a perfect score of 147 points in 6 subjects and 147 points in Chinese, he entered the best high school in Jiangnan City No. 1 Middle School. A 4-year-old champion in the senior high school entrance examination. Child prodigy. Caused a small stir. Many interview media gathered near the community and wanted to write a big news. But Lin's parents and Lin's mother refused all media interviews. Children like reading and learning, and have a strong desire for knowledge. I hope the outside world will not disturb them. The voice of Lin's father and Lin's mother also caused the media to be condemned by the society. Under the condemnation, the media and newspapers left in dismay. The principal of Jiangnan No. 1 Middle School personally came to visit Lin Qi's home. Lin Qi's talent is too high. The leaders of the entire Jiangnan No. 1 Middle School were willing to give Lin Qi the green light. He can teach himself at home. You only need to be accompanied by your parents when you take the exam. Lin Qi was very happy with this. After all, he has a Nobel Prize-winning scientist smart card, and he taught himself high school knowledge without difficulty. Just 1 year. Lin Qi knew all about high school knowledge. At this time, he was only 5 years old. Although the scientific diet allowed him to reach the level of a 9-year-old child, about 1 meter 3. But compared to 1.6 meters, Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com or even a 1.8 meter high school student, he is just a grandson of the soil. But this did not affect Lin Qi. He begged the school in advance to register him for the college entrance examination. Therefore, he was able to take the college entrance examination this year. So, Lin Qi was 5 years old. As the champion of science in Jiangnan province, he was admitted to Zhejiang University of Science and Technology, majoring in biological sciences. A 5-year-old science champion, a popular news subject. The media coverage is overwhelming. He became a summer hit. The media called him a prodigy, but many people attacked and abused him online. Haha. Xiaoguo loves to cultivate exam-oriented education as a problem maker. At the age of 5, you can do problems like this, and you will definitely not be able to do scientific research in the future. Unfortunately, the age of 5 is the time to cultivate scientific thinking and innovative consciousness, but it was ruined by exam-oriented education. Exam-oriented education has ruined another genius. Now you know where the gap between Xia and the West is. There is a lot of maliciousness on the internet. But Lin Qi didn't care at all. He has only 13 years left. For 13 years, I must try my best to overcome the terminal illness in my body. Otherwise, this time the Sims will fail. Lin Qi didn't dare to think about the consequences of failure. He was ruthless. The last chance must be seized. Therefore, Lin Qi didn't hear things outside the window, and the world praised it without any encouragement, and the world didn't feel sorry for it. He is just struggling to swim in the ocean of knowledge. And at the moment Lin Qi got the college notice. In Lin Qi's mind, a prompt sounded again that made Lin Qi feel relaxed. Successful change of fate against the sky. At the age of 4, you performed well in school and skipped grades many times. You became the champion of the city's high school entrance examination. You are a child prodigy. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully, at the age of 5, you became the city's top student in the college entrance examination, and you were admitted to Zhejiang University of Science and Technology with honors, majoring in biological sciences. You are destined to become a famous scientist. The gem of life lamp is taking shape. You have gained 500 walking points. See tips and rewards. Lin Qi was shocked. 500 walking points? This is a huge sum of money. Plus the reward for changing your life against the sky before, that's 1050 walking points. 1050 walking points enough for Lin Qi to deduce many times. If you use it properly, you may not be able to change your life against the sky. Thinking of this, Lin Qi was very excited. For all Dakian walkers, walking points are precious items. Treasures can be purchased in the overworld. It's just that for Lin Qi, the walking point is even more precious. After all, the walking point is a consumable for creation deduction. The more walking points are consumed, the more infernal the deduction will be. For example, it takes a full 10,000 walking points to fully deduce a complete plan to overcome cancer in the body. For 10,000 walking points, it usually takes more than 10 sims to save enough. Lin Qi only went through the second simulation, and he failed the first time, so he definitely couldn't come up with it. He can only follow the deduced plan, first become the scientific research leader of Xiaoguo, and then use the power of the whole country to overcome the terminal illness. This is the best solution currently. But at this moment, Lin Qi, who has 1050 walking points, has a hunch. The probability of him overcoming a terminal illness has inexplicably increased. Lin Qi took a deep breath. Next, school violence, dropping out of school, death of both parents, robbing of property by relatives, and wandering on the streets should not happen again. These are all points of change of life against the sky. However, my lifespan is short, only 12 years left. I must become a leader as soon as possible, and have the position to mobilize the scientific research force of Xia. If you want to become a leader, you must major in biological science and research to the top of the world. I even have to understand cancer and oncology. Lin Ke's goals are grand. To change fate against the sky. In order to break through the limits of this Sim's life. In order to become a true great thousand walker. 5-year-old Lin Ke picked up the university textbooks, concentrated on it, and began to study by himself. 1 year. Lin Ke completed the textbooks for the first and second year of the freshman year by himself. The reason why it took a year is because every time Lin Ke encountered a knowledge framework, he would go to the internet to find relevant papers and scientific research results, and then ponder, study, and understand. Therefore, Lin Ke's learning pattern this year is very exaggerated. He first read the textbooks for freshmen and sophomores. Read the textbook again. The expanded content of each textbook, if replaced by books, can become a tumaturai wall. It can be seen that it is exaggerated to an extent. And such a crazy study also gave Lin Ke a big surprise. At this moment, Lin Ke used the creation deduction again, and he was able to simulate the experimental process of the first-class paper in his mind, and it was not bad. Even more exaggerated, it only needs to consume 50 walking points. Based on this, Lin Ke discovered a big rule: first, the more relevant knowledge he has, the more precise the creation deduction will be. Second, the more profound the relevant knowledge he masters, the less consumption of creation deduction will be. Like now, Lin Ke will deduce the method to overcome the terminal illness again. Only need to consume 9,500 walking points. 500 walking points less. This is a good thing. Lin Ke was excited. He knew that his efforts had paid off. If he continues to study the technology of this world, then before the age of 18, he may really be able to deduce the perfect treatment plan. Lin Ke smiled, laughing happily. He saw hope, the direction of his efforts was very clear, and the motivation to struggle was more abundant. In the next year, Lin Ke recreated the self-study model from last year, and thoroughly mastered the textbooks for the 3rd and 4th grades. In 2 years, he overeats all the knowledge points of college majors. However, Lin Ke did not graduate from university. He also needs to submit a graduation thesis. Entering the 3rd year of university, Lin Ke was 8 years old and applied to his tutor for a graduation project. In the ensuing time, Lin Ke spends his days in the school's biology laboratory, conducting his own research. 4 months later, Lin Ke completed his university graduation thesis. The title of the paper is Gut Microbiota May Influence Host Response to Cancer Treatment Through the Immune System. The whole paper is 67 pages long. There are 300 sets of experimental controls, and the research is very delicate. The final conclusion is also very precise and accurate. The intestinal flora can regulate the host immune system, thereby affecting the development, metastasis, and treatment of tumors. The thesis is completed. Lin Ke applied for intellectual property protection for the paper. Then, the paper was submitted to the supervisor, Professor Yuan Peng, for review. Professor Yuan took the paper and smothered it several times. But can't find a place that needs to be changed. Professor Yuan was startled, dumbfounded by the shock, dumbfounded. Genius, really genius. For this paper, any first-tier scientific journal in China has to give it a cover. Even in the most powerful biological journals in the world, it has to occupy the main page. Are you really 8 years old? Professor Yuan was a little confused. This horse is 8 years old? Invincible, okay? You must know that Professor Yuan is a genius himself. At the age of 14, he was admitted to the youth class of Zhaiguo University of Science and Technology, and at the age of 24, he graduated from the Dengguo Ivy League with a doctorate degree. 10 years after returning to China, he is already a full professor at a university with the strongest scientific research in the Xia Kingdom. However, Lin Qi, an 8-year-old child, abused him to the fullest. Professor Yuan was hit hard and sighed deeply. "It's the teacher, I'm getting old. The young man now is really a monster. You go back first, and I will submit your paper. You just need to wait for the good news from the journal. I can predict that as long as you continue to do research, you will definitely be a leader in the field of biotechnology in the future." Professor Yuan, who has always been unsmiling, suddenly smiled brightly and patted Lin Qi on the shoulder with a red face. "Son, are you willing to follow me to blog directly? I will open the back door for you, and I promise you that I will create the best research conditions for you. As long as you remember the teacher from now on." Lin Qi nodded in agreement. "I think you are very good teacher, and I am willing to follow the teacher to study for a PhD. Lin Qi never thought of leaving Xiaoguo University of Science and Technology. After all, the Biological Science Major and Biological Science Laboratory of Xiaoke University are among the best in the world. Other places may not have such an excellent scientific research environment." Hearing Lin Qi's answer, Professor Yuan smiled brightly. Okay, it's my honor to have an excellent student like you." Professor Yuan's love for Lin Qi overflowed on his facial features. If it wasn't for Lin Qi, who was only 8 years old, he would have asked him to drink a few cups of celebratory wine at UU reading www.uuganshu.com. It's just that Lin Qi is young. He could only rub Lin Qi's head. Aside, Mother Lin was stunned. What is the concept of a scientific leader in a field? Are you a national treasure? And her own son has this terrifying potential. Mother Lin was so excited that her heart was about to burst out. On the contrary, Lin Qi was indifferent, and his expression was even a little cold. "Then Mr. Yuan, should I go back first?" Professor Yuan nodded and smiled and sent Lin Qi to the school gate. On the road, many professors were surprised. This old strange Yuan is a representative of the low-emotional intelligence professor of Charqi University. Even if the principal went to find him, he would have to stick to his ass. "Today, you actually sent someone to the school gate with a smile on your face? Could it be that the sun is coming out from the west?" Many professors couldn't help muttering in a low voice. Certainly. These are just small episodes. A month later, Lin Qi's paper was published in the most famous biological journal in China, causing a sensation in the small circle. At the same time, the paper was introduced in 3,000 words by the top international biological journals. It can be said that the treatment is full. Naturally, Lin Qi had his first representative paper. A week later, Professor Yuan completed the formalities for Lin Qi. Lin Qi became a direct attack doctor under Professor Yuan. Further study begins here. In the entire field of biological sciences, the most profound knowledge has finally been slowly spread in front of Lin Qi. Lin Qi knew. Understanding this large number of profound knowledge points has unparalleled benefits for creation deduction. It can greatly increase the probability of overcoming a terminal illness, and it can make him change his life against the sky. Therefore, Lin Qi forgot to eat and sleep, immersed in academia. The pleasure of climbing the peak of science makes his adrenaline and dopamine secrete like crazy. 3 months passed in a flash. Spring is here. Mother Lin knocked lightly outside the door. "Darling, it's New Year's Eve, no matter what, you have to take a rest today." Hearing the call, Lin Qi put down the information given by Professor Yuan and walked out of the room with a stretched waist. On the table in the living room, there is a table full of sumptuous New Year's Eve dinner. "Dang dang, Happy New Year, darling, you are 9 years old." Lin's father and Lin's mother congratulated Lin Qi. "I hope our little 7 knights can be healthy and happy for a lifetime." Hear the words. Lin Qi was stunned for a moment, and his heart couldn't help but tremble slightly. 9 years old? This is a special time point. If he drank poisoned milk powder, he would now be a big-headed doll who just entered kindergarten, a mentally handicapped child. Fortunately, he changed his life against the sky. The current Lin Qi is a doctoral student. It is an elite doctor whose paper has appeared on the cover of a domestic first-line journal. Life is really full of emotions. Lin Qi looked out the window full of fireworks. On the still immature face, there are mature and sighing meanings that do not belong to this age. But almost for an instant, Lin Qi hid his emotions. Instead, he happily enjoyed the New Year's Eve dinner with Lin's father and Lin's mother, and spent the New Year's Eve. There are fireworks outside the window. Amidst the dazzling fireworks, a crisp and pleasant reminder sounded in Lin Qi's mind. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully, at the age of 6, you entered the university and completed your freshman and sophomore studies at home. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully, at the age of 7, you completed your 3rd and 4th year of junior high school at home. Successful change of fate against the sky, 8 years old, your graduation thesis amazed your supervisor, the supervisor is very fond of you, and you are specially recruited for a doctorate. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully, at the age of 9, you went straight to the doctor. Your future is bright. The gem of life lamp is perfected to 2/3, you have gained 1000 walking points. Looking at the generous reward, Lin Qi was pleasantly surprised. It actually gave me 1000 walking points. Now, my walking points have reached 2000. Although it is a little far from the 9500 walking points. But if I rely on the Nobel Prize-winning scientist's smart card, specialize in the field of cancer and biological sciences, and master the world's top-level relevant knowledge, and then deduce a plan to overcome a terminal illness, it may only take 5000 walking points, I'm not sure. Lin Qi clenched his fist secretly. There are only 9 years left until the terminal illness broke out at the age of 18. In 9 years, whoever loses who wins, the universe is uncertain. He must change his life. By the way, check your physical condition first. In terms of physical health, there can be no accidents. If there is another problem with your body, it will be a lot of fun. Lin Qi was cautious as always. Consume 10 walking points at will, and the creation deduction starts. This creation deduction consumes 10 walking points, 1990 walking points remaining. Deduction result, the current body is very healthy, only the congenital acute disease gene is lurking in the bone marrow, and the disease gene will suddenly break out at the age of 18. Okay, the body is fine, terminal illness is the super boss. Lin Qi shook his head and took a deep breath. He looked at the 2 papers lying quietly on the desk. The next step is to become a leader in the field of cancer and become famous in the Xia Kingdom. In this way, I can use the whole country to conquer and research terminal illnesses. Only let the top scientific research forces from all over the country and even the world gather together to help me continue my life. Lin Qi's plan was clear. In order to achieve the goal as soon as possible, the first day after the Spring Festival, Lin Qi took the paper and, accompanied by Mother Lin, came to Professor Yuan's laboratory. Professor Yuan was stunned. You have only been studying for a PhD for 3 months, and you have written 2 papers. Lin Qi's expression was indifferent and cold. I have an idea before, just need to verify it. Ask the teacher to check the quality. Professor Yuan nodded and opened the first paper. Experimental demonstration, metabolite consumption, whether it has anti-tumor effect. Paper experiments, etc. After many control experiments above, it can be known that cells lacking p53 are very sensitive to serine consumption. Therefore, it is shown that the removal of such amino acids through dietary changes, or pharmacological approaches, has therapeutic potential for the treatment of p53 deficient tumors. Professor Yuan turned to the first page and casually began to instill life experience. Actually, with your talent, the number of papers is not important, the quality is king. Halfway through, Professor Yuan obediently shut his mouth. There was light in his eyes, and he concentrated on analyzing the experimental process, the method of analyzing and demonstrating, and the conclusion. He was stunned. The idea of this paper is really creative. It provides a brand new idea for cancer treatment. It's even said that you can win an international heavyweight award in medicine with this paper. Professor Yuan spoke quickly. Appears very excited. If the content of the paper is true, then Lin Qi will become famous in the field of biological sciences. 9 years old. What is the concept of becoming famous in the field of scientific research? It can only be said that he is an unborn genius. Horrible. However, Professor Yuan has some doubts. Can the experiments in the paper be repeated? Lin Qi said firmly, it can be repeated. It can be repeated 1,000 times, 10,000 times. Professor Yuan took a deep breath. I looked at the second paper again. There was a long silence. Professor Yuan is numb. It is still a top academic journal with a cover-level paper. He was only 9 years old, how could he go against the sky to such an extent? Professor Yuan's expression was complicated, mixed with excitement and frustration. It can only be said that you were born for scientific research. I will help you submit to international journals, and wait for good news. You can mention whatever you want. Just over a year. The 3 top papers in the field are enough for Professor Yuan to use all resources to support Lin Qi. After all, the gold content of every paper is ridiculously high, and he can get a little light. Found a baby. Professor Yuan was so overjoyed that he helped Lin Qi submit the manuscript. So, Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com. Lin Qi was 9 years old. The 3 papers made a sensation in the field of life science and technology. The international academic circles call him the Prince of Life Science and Technology. With time, there is no limit to it. The domestic media made an uproar. For a while, the remarks that the child prodigy's talent was perfectly exchanged were published in the newspapers. But these have nothing to do with Lin Qi. He doesn't care. Still incarnate as a hard-working monk, striving to explore the frontier fields of life science and technology. The only thing in the outside world that deserves his attention. It is a brand new paper of various top journals. For each new paper, he would read it back and forth a dozen times. These can widen the depth of Lin Qi's thoughts. Certainly. In many papers, there are also mistakes and omissions and points worth adding. Every now and then, Lin Qi would send an email to the author of the paper, listing his thoughts in detail. Often only a day or 2 later, the original author would be so excited to reply and thank him. Through exchanges, Lin Qi made friends with all the first-class professors in the field of life sciences, even Nobel Prize winners and Lasker Prize winners in clinical medicine are among his friends. The top leaders in the entire biological science field want to cooperate with Lin Qi. If there is any new idea, I will chat with Lin Qi by email. Lin Qi's progress was faster. When I was 10 years old, I only needed 8,500 walking points to deduce the cost of treating cancer. This is a big improvement. Although you still need to get 6,500 walking points, you can change your life against the sky. But hope is in sight. There are only 8 years left. Lin Qi felt the urgency of time. I need to work harder. Lin Qi knew that he couldn't relax. If you don't survive past the age of 18, then everything will come to nothing. Even when he was 2 years old, he wisely avoided the poisoning of milk powder, even if he became a doctoral student at the age of 10. He still hasn't completed the task of breaking the limit. If you don't endure the disaster at the age of 18, it is not a success. Therefore, Lin Qi spent a year mastering all the knowledge about life sciences in this world. Then, he began to sprint on topics that have not been broken through for decades and hundreds of years. I saw the topic selected by Lin Qi. Professor Yuan's face was full of fear. Lin Qi, Don't be too ambitious. You're only 10 years old, so you don't need to focus on special topics. I'm afraid you will suffer setbacks and you will never recover. Professor Yuan persuaded seriously. He felt that Lin Qi's steps were too big. Why do you rush to a problem that top scientists can't solve for decades or hundreds of years? If the key fails, then it is doomed. However, Lin Qi's eyes were firm. I can study, I want to try. Seeing Lin Qi's resolute expression of reckless determination, Professor Yuan was touched for a while, and patted Lin Qi on the shoulder. The way you look without hesitation for the truth reminds me of Copernicus, who gave his life to his death. You are a pure seeker. I see the light in your eyes. I see a pure heart in you. Professor Yuan's voice was choked. He took off his glasses, wiped the water mist on the glasses, and sighed while wiping, "You are my best student. I wish you the best of luck. Even if you encounter setbacks, you must be open to it, and don't be discouraged. You have to remember that scientific research is God throwing dice. Don't dig into the bullseye." Professor Yuan entrusted him word by word. He had already regarded Lin Qi as his own son. A bitter exhortation. With a moved face, Lin Qi hugged Professor Yuan hard, and then plunged into the subject of which he could not see any reward. As Lin Qi expected, the difficulty that has plagued mankind for decades is not unusually high. Even though Lin Qi was blessed with a Nobel Prize Scientist Wisdom card, he felt a little bit of a struggle, as if he was walking in a quagmire. But Lin Qi has his own advantages. His creation deduction, even if it is not activated, can give Lin Qi an intuition. Relying on his amazing intuition, Lin Qi was able to seize the breakthrough and overcome difficulties repeatedly. In just 1 year, Lin Qi published 5 landmark papers. And 2 of them were selected into the journal Science. 5 top papers made Lin Qi's status in the Xia Kingdom skyrocket. With tears of joy, Professor Yuan allowed Lin Qi to graduate from doctorate. At the same time, Xiaoguo University of Science and Technology hired him as a professor. With the help of Professor Yuan, Lin Qi has his own laboratory and can recruit his own laboratory assistants. In the next 5 years, Lin Qi was extremely diligent in his output, with 5 milestone papers every year. Fragmented papers are emerging one after another. Even Lin Qi's scientific friends, because Lin Qi's suggestions are accurate and effective, often give him a name in the paper. Lin Qi became a paper madman and a legend in the industry. Fame began to spread. A popular science article became a hit online. Lin Qi, the prodigy of the Xia Kingdom that you don't know, 20 milestone studies in overcoming cancer in the past 100 years, 12 of which are exclusively for one person. True cancer killer. The article lists Lin Qi's achievements in detail. With easy-to-understand brush strokes, Lin Qi's skydifying achievements are depicted vividly. Even at the end of the article, he vowed to claim, Lin Qi will lead mankind to conquer cancer. Cancer will always be a common disease. The Nobel Prize was awarded to Lin Qi, which is the honor of the Nobel Prize, not the honor of Lin Qi. This article is popular on many platforms. It caused a heated discussion among millions of netizens. Professionals, Lin Qi's boss is really against this guy, and his scientific research ability is invincible. Don't brag, don't black, Lin Qi is a contemporary myth in the field of life sciences. What's even more frightening is that he is only 15 years old. Ha ha ha, the boss is our senior. I met him in front of his laboratory. He is 15 years old, 1.8 meters tall, handsome, talented, and invincible. I want to be an assistant in his laboratory, but his level not enough, the application failed. Cut, it's just a domestic rant. It's so powerful, why hasn't it been recognized internationally? Didn't you get a single award? Indeed, it's actually a study that is not worth mentioning at all. It turned out to be the number 1 in the world, and I laughed out loud. The West still wants you to study for 100 years. It's useless at all. You're bragging, How come you don't see the cost of medical treatment being reduced? Why don't you take money to see a doctor for the common people first? The article became popular, and the Internet of Things appeared. They think that flies can discredit warriors. As everyone knows, Lin Ke is not bothered by the chaos of the world. His goal, there is always only one, that is to conquer the terminal illness in the body. The time left for him is getting less and less. At the age of 16, it was the beginning of spring. In the laboratory, Lin Ke raised his head, looked downstairs in the laboratory, exploded a landscape tree full of green shoots, and let out a sigh of relief. And outside the laboratory door, Lin's father and Lin's mother were flushed with excitement, like hyperthyroidism, and shouted loudly, "Son, something has happened to my son. Something has happened to you." Lin Ke was helpless, opened the door of the laboratory, and stretched. Looking at the parents standing outside the door, and the extremely excited Professor Yuan. "What's the matter?" Mother Lin grabbed Lin Ke's arm. "Son, you won the Lasker Clinical Medicine Award, and the organizer invited you to go abroad to receive the award. This is the highest award in the field of life sciences. It's the announcement of the Nobel Prize. Winning this award means that you have a 90% probability of winning the Nobel Prize." Lin Ke's heart was not fluctuating. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com waved his hand to refuse. "If you don't have time, don't go." Professor Yuan was astonished. "Why don't you go to accept the award?" "I've dreamed of it." "Get ready and go to accept the award." Lin Ke's face was indifferent. "I'm not interested, it's better to do an experiment." Lin Ke sternly refused. After learning that Lin Ke was too lazy to accept the award, all the professors at Xiaoguo University of Science and Technology all sighed with embarrassment. "I wish I could become Lin Ke to take it." The school leaders came to ask Lin Ke to accept the award again and again. Pity. Lin Ke's attitude was firm, and he came one after the other. But although Lin Ke did not go to accept the award was still awarded to Lin Ke. Because the judges all know, Lin Ke does not need the Lasker Clinical Medicine Award to prove his gold content. But the Lasker Clinical Medicine Award needs Lin Ke to prove his gold content. After all, Lin Ke's scientific research results are really against the sky. And Lin Ke ignored the Lasker Clinical Medicine Award, and the Lasker Clinical Medicine Award kneeling and licking like a first love was also drawn as an anthropomorphic picture by netizens. In the picture, the Lasker Award for Clinical Medicine after the Niang Huan, bulging forward and backward, wearing white silk, hugging Lin Ke's arm tightly, but Lin Ke disliked it and pushed him away. Netizens burst into laughter, and the memes spread everywhere. But happiness belongs to netizens, but Lin Ke was a little nervous. At the age of 16, will the outbreak of terminal illness be far behind? After 10 years of sharpening the sword, it's time to take it out and cut it. Lin Ke took a deep breath. Right now. The beep that hadn't been heard for 7 years finally sounded in Lin Ke's mind. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully. At the age of 10, you published 3 top papers and became famous. Successful change of fate against the sky. At the age of 11, you began to tackle human problems. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully. At the age of 12, you graduated with a doctorate and stayed on as a professor at Xiaoguo University of Science and Technology. You have your own high-precision laboratory. Successful change of fate against the sky. At the age of 13, you published 5 landmark scientific research papers. At the same time, you used your spare time to lay out the short video industry in advance. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully. At the age of 14, you are still highly productive, and you have become an authority in the professional field. Successful change of fate against the sky. At the age of 15, you obtained 183 patents related to the overcoming of cancer. Successful change of fate against the sky. At 16, you are one step closer to conquering cancer, but there is still a long way to go before you can completely conquer cancer. The lamp of life is being formed, you have gained 2000 walking points. Is it actually a walking point before 2000? Adding the previous 2000, it's a total of 4000 walking points. But the creation deduction needs to consume 5000 walking points to fully deduce the plan to overcome the terminal illness in my body. It's 1000 walking points away. Walking points are really scarce. I changed my destiny like this to get 5000 points. Among them, 1000 points were used up in deductions when I was 2 years old. It's a pity. Lin Qi smiled and shook his head. Although it is said that the walking point is 1000 less. But he was mentally prepared. I can't completely overcome the terminal illness in my body, but I can also rely on the knowledge I have acquired to extend my life. As long as I don't die and survive the age of 18, I will be considered a success. With 4000 walking points I will never die at the age of 18. This is the plan that Lin Qi deduced from the beginning. He can't completely overcome the terminal illness in his body, but he can try his best to keep his life alive. As long as you are careful, there will be no major accidents. Lin Qi was able to continue his life beyond the age of 18. This is the reason why Lin Qi started to struggle from the age of 2, and has been working non-stop until he was 16. Knowledge alters your fate. The confident Lin Qi continued to get busy after exercising for 10 minutes. Time flies by like a horse. In a flash, 5 months slipped away. A new semester begins. Xiaoguo University of Science and Technology organized all the faculty and staff to conduct a comprehensive physical examination. After 1 day, the medical report is out. The doctors were shocked. He ran to report to Professor Yuan, who had become the dean of the School of Biology. Professor Yuan's face turned pale with fright. It must be a mistake. It must be a mistake. Check it again. Professor Yuan didn't believe it anyway. He personally led the team from Lin Qi's laboratory to take Lin Qi to the hospital for a second examination. Pity. The result of the second inspection was exactly the same as the first. Holding the examination report, the doctor trembled slightly. Professor Lin's terminal illness is unprecedented. It is the first case in the world. This is a very rare acute outbreak of myeloid cancer. Cannot be cured. Even control is impossible. Moreover, bone marrow cells are malignant lesions at the genetic level and are expected to spread at full speed after 9 months. After listening to the doctor's words, Professor Yuan's face turned pale instantly. How could this happen? How could this happen? He is only 16 years old, and he was still alive and kicking some time ago. How could he have such a terminal illness? Professor Yuan was almost out of breath. Ming Ming is a child who has grown up watching him grow up, and he is obviously a promising scientist. How did you get terminal illness? And it's an isolated case in the world, an incurable disease. Is God really jealous of talents? Professor Yuan's eyes were covered with grey. Feeling Professor Yuan's sadness, Lin Qi patted Professor Yuan's back and smiled optimistically. Doctor, it seems that this disease can be named after me. Hear the words. Both the doctor and Professor Yuan opened their mouths and looked at Lin Qi, who was still joking at this time in surprise. But at this moment, Lin Qi's eyes are bright and firm, and very penetrating. How pure and innocent must he be to have such bright eyes? Professor Yuan was deeply touched. He forced a smile on his face. My child, you are a leader in the field of cancer research. You must be able to save yourself, right? Lin Qi's face was calm. Yes, I can save myself, it's just a terminal illness. Lin Qi was very free and easy. Professor Yuan was not so open-minded, his eyes were moist, and he was holding back a feeling of numbness and pain. That night, Lin's father and Lin's mother learned that Lin Qi was terminally ill. The two sat in the bedroom and wept silently for several hours. Only then did he dare to help and push open Lin Qi's door. My dear, Mom doesn't understand your research, but Mom heard that you are a genius who can conquer cancer. Isn't it? Can you save yourself? You can definitely save yourself, right? Please, darling, you are so talented, you can save yourself, will you? Mother Lin hugged Lin Qi, her heart was broken. The emotion of blood thicker than water made Lin Qi's nose sore. Mom, I'll be fine, trust me. Don't cry. Mother Lin stretched out her hand and wiped away her tears. Mom believes in you. When you were young, you vomited after drinking a mouthful of poisoned milk powder. You are so smart. You are so special. Lin Qi nodded seriously. Patiently soothe my mother's emotions. Then he went back to his bedroom. As soon as he returned to the bedroom, Lin Qi started the creation deduction and checked his physical condition. This game requires 100 walking points, currently there are 4,000 walking points remaining. Successful deduction, the current bone marrow primary cell lesion has begun, spread after 2 months, avalanche after 5 months, and death after 7 months. Let's deduce another two-year life extension plan. This game requires 100 walking points, currently 3,900 walking points remain. Lin Qi was stunned. How is it possible to only need 100 points? Impossible, right? Lin Qi hurriedly looked at the deduction result. Successful deduction, the method comes from your published paper. Is it feasible to combine acupuncture technology and electrochemical technology, and the use of the technology can suppress the outbreak of terminal illness? After reading the deduction results, Lin Qi froze in place. This paper was actually written by Qin Xia, a doctoral assistant in his laboratory, a year ago. Qin Xia felt that Chinese medicine would definitely be able to shine in modern science, so she had a whim and applied for a project with Lin Qi. Such a subject is very absurd, and Qin Xia is ready to be scolded. As a result, Lin Qi intuitively told Lin Qi that the task could be done. So, Lin Qi didn't scold Qin Xia, and thought about it for a week. Instead, preliminary suggestions and guidance are given. Qin Xia was extremely surprised. With 12 points of love, I studied it for more than a year. During this period, Lin Qi guided him about 150 times, and finally completed the thesis. This paper combines acupuncture technology with electrochemical technology for the first time. Taking advantage of the acidic microenvironment of tumor tissue and ingeniously using the precise puncture of acupuncture electrodes, the controllable generation of hydrogen gas in the tumor area during the electrolysis of acupuncture electrodes was successfully achieved under the safe low-pressure conditions of healthy tissues. This effectively inhibits the growth of tumors and causes them to die rapidly. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com. This method is an innovative minimally invasive technique based on Lin Qi's combined therapy. The operation is relatively simple, high safety, and does not require drugs, nanomaterials, and high-precision instruments and equipment. The therapeutic effect has been preliminarily verified in mouse models, realizing minimally invasive treatment of mouse glioma and breast cancer. Recalling the content of the paper, Lin Qi couldn't help but raise a slight smile. Good guy. This is really the most suitable life extension plan for you. Because he is a pathology deep in the genes of bone marrow stem cells. Therefore, whether it is combination therapy, target cell attack, or T-cell transformation and reattack, it will cure the symptoms but not the root cause. Using these methods rashly is equivalent to using his body as a battlefield to fight. The terminal illness has not been eliminated. The battlefield of Lin Qi was riddled with holes, and the terminal illness was eliminated in one step. An acupuncture and electrochemical therapy, green and safe, use as little medicine as possible. After a frantic analysis in his mind, Lin Qi couldn't help taking a deep breath. Sure enough, God helps those who help themselves. After 12 years of hard work, I finally found a way to break through the limits of my life. It's really not easy. The life with so many disasters and no possibility of changing one's life has also been changed by me. Destined not to fail. Lin Qi was firm in his goal. He did not dare to fail, because failure would not condense the gem of the lamp of life. It will be reduced to a baby machine. Life will be dead silent. And now, he is only one step away from success. It's just one step closer to the door. The day after being diagnosed with a terminal illness, Lin Qi came to his laboratory as usual. The news spread very fast. The entire laboratory knew that Lin Qi was terminally ill. The students pursed their lips, their eyes were dull, and the air pressure was very low. Lin Qi is a good professor and mentor. As long as you choose a topic, he can guide you 100 times until you fully understand the experiment and obtain scientific research results. He is the most popular doctoral supervisor in the entire Xiaokei University. The students are rushing to be assistants. His class was overcrowded, and there were even students sitting in the aisles. However, such an excellent and charming Professor Lin, who was only 17 years old, actually suffered from the only terminal illness in the world. The students in the laboratory stared at Lin Qi. Distressed, uncomfortable, and her eyes were red. "Teacher, you! Teacher!" Qin Xia pursed her lips and gritted her teeth angrily. Lin Qi raised his eyebrows. "Just do whatever you need to do. I'm not that prone to accidents. It's just a terminal illness. By the way, Qin Xia, your acupuncture electrochemical therapy is very good." Lin Qi praised him, and then found Qin Xia's paper from the data cabinet. This technique, if exercised properly, can control the lesions in the bone marrow. Once a day, you will be healthy. Lin Qi smiled. Begin to design a treatment plan. According to the deduction, to find an old Chinese medicine practitioner who is familiar with the acupuncture points of the human body, first do acupuncture on every acupuncture point of the body, then, using the electrode of the needle tip, micromanipulation electrolyzes hydrogen, and finally uses the living hydrogen therapy. The process is green and safe. Although it cannot completely cure the symptoms, it can prolong the transition time of terminal illness to the middle and late stages. In other words, it can continue to live. Read this. Lin Qi thought at a high speed while entering the plan into the document. Behind Professor Yuan stood quietly for a long time. Seeing that Lin Qi was done, Professor Yuan touched Lin Qi's head. Then, he held a bank card, which was extremely precious, and stuffed it into Lin Qi's hand. The action of inserting the bank card is forceful and cannot be refused. "My child, it takes a lot of money to treat a terminal illness. My house sold for 6 million, and you take it to treat the disease." Lin Qi froze in place, forgetting what to say for a while. Professor Yuan is 43 years old. In this era of soaring rooms, he has no hesitation to sell his house for money to treat a student's illness. He really regards Lin Qi as his own son. Such feelings cannot be said to be insincere. Lin Qi's eyes were moist. "Teacher, it's really unnecessary. I have money. How much money can you spend in the laboratory every day? Take it." Professor Yuan reprimanded, and his palms tightened. Lin Qi understood that he had to convince Professor Yuan. "Otherwise, I must accept the 6 million that Professor Yuan returned from the sale of the house today." Lin Qi was so moved that the tip of his nose felt sore. "Teacher, I'm not short of money. 3 years ago, I set up an emerging industry and made some fortune, not much, about 200 billion to 300 billion. Talking room." Lin Qi opened an electronic file, and then showed Professor Yuan the ownership structure of the most popular short video app in China, and its normal business setup. Lin Qi's shareholding ratio is as high as 72%. He has the final say in the entire group. Others can only make suggestions or implement plans. Professor Yuan was startled, and his surprised eyes swept across Lin Qi, as if he knew Lin Qi for the first time. "You make a little bit of money, and you have 200 billion. Lin Qi nodded slightly. "Yet, 200 billion can be exchanged at any time, so, even if I spend 10 billion every year for treatment, I can last for 20 years. Besides, I can earn another 200 billion. Lin Qi said lightly, returning the bank card to Professor Yuan, with a slight reproach in his tone. I've said it all, you have to have confidence in me. You're better. Forget it, after a while, I'll buy you a villa. Hear the words. Professor Yuan opened his mouth and clutched his bank card, feeling sad and relieved. Son, you will be fine. You must be fine. Lin Qi stroked Professor Yuan's back. Relax and go to class quickly. Professor Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. Left the laboratory. After seeing Professor Yuan leave, Lin Qi immediately called home. Don't sell the house. Don't sell the house. Don't sell the house. I made 200 billion to treat terminal illnesses, don't mess around. Lin's father and Lin's mother looked at each other in dismay. The plan to sell the house and cure the disease that was being discussed just now was put on hold for the time being. Dude, where did you get 200 billion? Lin Qi, if you don't believe me, I'll come back tonight for verification. You can also call Professor Yuan for verification. In short, don't sell the house. Lin Qi resolutely warned. Lin's father and Lin's mother nodded heavily. My dear, we believe you, we won't sell the house for the time being, and we will sell it when we run out of money. Hear the words. Lin Qi breathed a sigh of relief. The next 3 days, Lin Qi began to implement a treatment plan for himself. First, acupuncture electrification is used to kill diseased cells. Secondly, by adjusting the diet accurately, changing the gastrointestinal bacterial flora, so that Lin Qi's gastrointestinal bacterial flora can limit the outbreak of terminal diseases in the body to the highest degree. From Lin Qi's paper, thirdly, Lin Qi is based on the idea of serine therapy for p53 deficient tumors. Trying to find an active substance to inhibit the generation of terminal illness in the body. From Lin Qi's paper, multi-pronged approach. Carry out all-round pursuit and interception of terminal illness. A week later, Lin Qi's custom-made private sanatorium. On the treatment bed, Lin Qi stripped off his clothes, and his body was full of thin silver needles. Even the knuckles of the fingers had silver needles inserted. Every silver needle is precisely pierced into the key acupoints near the bone marrow. The medical staff was a little nervous, and carefully manipulated the minimally invasive electrolysis machine to start electrolysis. Lin Qi felt numb and bloated. It was as if someone had swept the sensitive area with goose feathers, and it was painfully itchy. But with the progress of electrolysis, Lin Qi felt relieved and even a little drowsy. 2 hours later, the first electrification treatment of acupuncture and moxibustion was completed. The image CT showed that the diseased cells near Lin Qi's bone marrow were all removed, and there is no possibility of spreading to the whole body for the time being. The doctor was very excited. Professor Lin, it's effective, really effective. Although there is no cure, at least it won't spread to other parts. As long as it is suppressed like this, it may never break out. You are indeed the man who is said to lead mankind to conquer cancer. The doctor was amazed. Lin Qi got dressed. Take a long sigh of relief. I haven't felt any negative effects for the time being. But I estimate that in the later stage, the speed of replication of the diseased cells will be faster. At that time, it may be difficult to handle. Besides, the diseased cells are constantly replicating by absorbing my nutrients. So every treatment is equivalent to cutting a piece of meat on me. I want to supplement nutrition scientifically. Otherwise, it won't last long. Lin Qi did not underestimate the enemy. But according to the first treatment, reading www.yukanshu.com quickly perfected the life extension plan. 2 months later, when Lin Qi checked again, although the situation in the bone marrow deteriorated, there were no diseased cells in the blood and other tissues. 5 months after the terminal illness was detected, the proliferation of diseased cells in the bone marrow accelerated, and Lin Qi's condition should fall into an avalanche. but still controlled. Only the electrification of acupuncture and moxibustion once a day can slowly kill the spreading diseased cells. It must be done in the morning and evening. At the same time, Lin Ke's nutritional supplements gradually equalized with the consumption of the diseased cell population. Lin Ke's body gradually weakened. But there are only 2 months left before breaking the limit of life. Lin Ke used a hanging bottle to deliver nutrients in the most direct way. But the diseased cell population is indeed a tumor. The diseased cell population will be robbed of half of the nutrients delivered every day. Other parts of the body can only take the opportunity to drink leftover soup. Lin Ke began to lose weight. The skin where the needle was pierced also showed bruises. Every treatment is painful. The doctors were a little panicked. What should I do? What should I do? Professor Lin, the terminal illness in your body is too difficult to deal with. If it is other cancers, it can definitely be controlled. The terminal illness in Professor Lin's body is like a tiger. The doctors' voices began to tremble. When I reported the situation to Lin Ke, I was very anxious. At this time, there are still 2 months left before breaking the limit of life. Lin Ke took a deep breath, his eyes shining as always. Don't be afraid, my research institute should have new achievements. As predicted. Only 1 day passed. Lin Ke's research team sent the results, a pill with a research and development cost of over 300 million yuan. The pills are mixed with bacterial groups selected by the research team, and the bacterial groups can secrete pheromones that inhibit terminal illness. The inhibitory effect is not against the sky, but combined with diet and immunotherapy, Lin Ke's physical condition has improved unexpectedly, and his face has become much rosier. This strange state made the doctors startled, almost thinking that Lin Ke had returned to the light. They quickly conducted an all-round inspection on Lin Ke. It was found that the proliferation rate of diseased cells in Lin Ke's bone marrow was indeed reduced by 20%. The medical team was shocked, as if they had seen a medical miracle. But over time, the lesions in Lin Ke's bone marrow doubled again. The inhibitory effect of pills is far from enough. Lin Ke's body lost its balance and fell into weakness at a speed visible to the naked eye. Fortunately, Lin Ke was lucky. The return to the light a while ago gave Lin Ke enough time to breathe. Lin Ke lasted until the time of death. Lin Ke, who was supposed to be engulfed by the diseased cells, was alive and well, and completed the evening treatment as usual. He returned home, sat at the desk, and reviewed the first draft of the thesis submitted by the students. Suddenly, Lin Ke was shocked, and then laughed out loud. A wanton smile, a little overwhelmed. It is like a monk who has been ascetic for many years and finally achieved a positive result, and like a poor scholar who has changed his life in a cold window in 10 years. Finally, I have broken through the limits of my life. 18 years. 18 years of hard work. In exchange for today's life-defying change. Lin Ke couldn't help shedding tears. And in the mind, the sound of the fate-defying reminder became clearer and louder, and finally took over all of Lin Ke's thoughts. Successful change of fate against the sky. At the age of 16, you were diagnosed with a terminal illness. The terminal illness is so rare that it can be named after you. Successful change of life against the sky. At the age of 17, you fought a terminal illness. As a leader in the field of life sciences, you found a way to continue your life. At the same time, you guided assistants and published 13 top papers. Defying the sky and changing your life successfully. At the age of 18, you are still fighting the terminal illness in your body. You are still alive. Congratulations! You have pushed the limits of life. The life lamp gem is permanently formed. Lamp of life gem, the current energy can support you to walk twice in the world. Each time you fail, the energy is halved. After breaking the limit of life, half of the energy is recovered. If the energy is empty, it will take a year to recover. It can also consume special item restore. You get 6,000 walking points. Currently there are 9450 walking points remaining. You have obtained an A level score. The score will be rewarded, and it will be settled after the soul returns. Are you coming back? No. Lin Qi shook his head secretly in his heart. The knowledge gained from school told Lin Qi. Be sure not to return when the limit is exceeded, but to endure until the moment of death. Because the longer you hold on, the more events you experience, the higher the score and the richer the reward. In layman's terms, it means that Lin Qi will earn blood for every extra day he lives in the future. It is even said that if the score is pulled to S, Lin Qi will be able to get a reward that can be called the sky. However, N's grade score is particularly difficult. Generally, you have to walk hundreds of times to get N's grade score by chance. But I seem to be able to hit the S score. Lin Qi fell into deep thought. Intuition tells him that if he can get an S grade in the process of this Sim's life, he will definitely earn blood. And one of the preconditions for getting an S grade is to conquer cancer. At this stage, it only takes 4,500 walking points to overcome cancer. It's a little expensive, but it's not impossible to give it a try. But, after conquering cancer, can't I completely eliminate my terminal illness? Lin Qi was a little surprised. It seems that my terminal illness is a malignant tumor. Lin Qi thought about it for a while. In the end, I decided to give it a go. After all, the reward for N's rank score is too generous. Lin Qi couldn't bear this temptation. So, after consuming 4,500 walking points, Lin Qi started the creation deduction. The creation deduction is complicated. In an instant, countless stars are born in the deduction, and countless stars are destroyed in the deduction. After a few seconds, in Lin Qi's mind, there are more than 300 milestone-level super papers. The content of each paper was imprinted in Lin Qi's mind, as if Lin Qi had done countless experiments himself, and he could master the application of all the principles with just a thought. Lin Qi was slightly surprised, and spent half an hour carefully sorting out the content of the paper. After half an hour, Lin Qi raised his head. The surprise in his eyes disappeared in a flash. Hey! The combination of the technologies in these papers cannot completely eliminate the terminal illness in my body, but it is enough to allow my body, immunity, and diseased cells in the bone marrow to achieve a wonderful dynamic balance. Even if the rate of proliferation of the diseased cells tripled, I could survive. Lin Qi was pleasantly surprised. It seems that my intuition is right. I can definitely get an S grade. Lin Qi raised his eyebrows. If you live for 10 more years, you can change your life for 10 years. If you live another 20 years, you can change your life for 20 years. Lin Qi couldn't believe what kind of rewards he could get after spending 20 years to score. All in all, it must be blood earned. Lin Qi gasped with laughter, quickly took a sip of hot tea, and then fell asleep. The next day, Lin Qi formulated a new treatment plan and handed it over to the medical team for implementation. A month later, Lin Qi's body really reached some kind of delicate dynamic balance. Lin Qi no longer looked sick. Instead, the skin became whiter and rosier. Lin Qi, who used to be out of breath while walking, can now walk as fast as he can. To this, the entire medical team was in shock. Professor Lin, it's amazing. Although the lesions in your bone marrow are proliferating at a high speed, the speed of clearance and the speed of recovery of bodily functions are also very fast. The three maintain a certain dynamic balance. Medical miracle. This is a medical miracle. The doctors laughed. Lin Qi also smiled and nodded. Congratulations to me, right? Congratulations. Congratulations. Of course, congratulations. But Professor Lin, you still have to come and check every day. Lin Qi nodded and agreed, no problem. Answered like this. Lin Qi took vigorous steps and came to the laboratory after an 8-month absence. In the laboratory, The students saw Lin Qi recovering as before. Tears flowed down one by one, and hugged Lin Qi tightly. Teacher! Are you recovering? Teacher, you have overcome a terminal illness, and you are indeed the man who will lead mankind to conquer cancer. Celebrate Professor Lin's recovery. Congratulations! Sprinkle flowers. The students were so excited that cheers resounded throughout the lab. Then, Professor Yuan also got the news. He was temporarily absent from school and rushed over. While running, he lost a shoe. But he didn't care. Instead, he hugged Lin Qi into his arms, and the moisture in his eyes blinded his thick glasses. Child! I've worked so hard for you. Soon. Lin Qi's parents also rushed over. The two hugged Lin Qi, crying, laughing and touching. Yu reading www.yuuganshu.com touch there. During Lin Qi's treatment, the bruises on his body made it difficult for them to sleep at night. Fortunately, Lin Qi survived. Lin's father and Lin's mother burst into tears and wept with joy. Feeling the sincere emotions of Lin's father and Lin's mother, Lin Qi twitched the tip of his sore nose. I'm fine, I'm alive. I can continue my research. This time, my scientific achievements will definitely be higher. Lin Qi said proudly. So, next year, Lin Qi used the short video app to make money. Set up 4 high-precision research institutes, recruited nearly 200 researchers, each researcher has an annual salary of 10 million yuan, and burns 30 billion yuan a year. Burn it all for scientific research without asking for anything in return. Just 1 year. Lin Qi moved all the 300 papers in his mind onto paper. 10 papers and hundreds of papers were bombarded indiscriminately, and patented technologies were applied for one after another. The bigwigs in the student circle were surprised to find that the returned Lin Qi was creating a myth every day. Even more exaggerated. Unconsciously. Global leaders in the field of life science and technology. They all went to Xia to do scientific research. For a while, the Xia kingdom has become a holy land for the study of life science and technology. Time is fleeting. Spring and autumn come. In an instant, it was Lin Qi's 19th birthday. On the day before his birthday, Lin Qi, who has always been low-key and isolated from the world, suddenly announced in a high-profile manner, Lin Qi's 4 research institutes will hold a global press conference. And the theme of the conference is